Hello everybody, welcome to Enotria, The Last Song. I'm going to do like a part 1 to a walkthrough for the game. We'll go over some starting tips and other stuff that'll help you to progress. I'm not entirely certain right now as to whether or not this is going to be a full series or not. I'm going to progress forward as if it is, and then if you guys want it, you'll have to let me know in the comments. And I can, in fact, upload this to my second channel, which I'll make sure is the playlist that is linked at the end of this video. So if you do want to follow this as a series, if lots of people ask for it, if we get to 30 likes before the first weekend, then we can be pretty confident that's something that we'll want to do. Starting out then, and I should probably do this from the checkpoint, but let's just take a look at the loadouts here. There's a lot of stuff going off on this screen, and quite a lot to talk about. Now, the first mask, realistically, or the first couple of masks, I got a second one, but I don't know if that's from the pre-orders. It's just auto in my inventory. The starter ones that we have access to, they don't have a terrible amount going on, so we're not too bothered about those. There are some more interesting ones later. More importantly, from a starting out perspective, you want to take a look at your aspects. Sorry for hiccuping there. This is going to be all in one. I'm not doing jump cuts and stuff in this. There are a few that are better than others. Firstly, you could use Bruiser if you don't intend to change class on the fly, but one of the bigger problems is if you change to one that doesn't have Bruiser and then back to this one, you have effectively lost that health. So I actually don't think having the extra health stat on an aspect is very valuable, so I will be avoiding that for basically everything else. So everything else is just automatically more useful than Soldier, so ignore that one. Even if it seems a little bit nicer at the beginning, I just don't think so. I'm probably going to go with Assassin for the damage, even if that's not necessarily the best pick. The best picks are probably any of the other three. This is because Trickster is going to give you defense. Your defense actually rises with your stamina stat, or faster with your stamina stat. So this one's pretty good, just for all-round defensiveness and mobility. Battle Mage is going to charge up your... Sorry, I can hear stuff in the background. Battle Mage is going to charge up your abilities faster, so something worth noting. And Elementalist basically makes it so that elements do more damage. We don't actually have elemental weapons right now because we're right at the beginning, so I'm going to choose Rogue just to help me out. We'll see if this works out or not. If not, then I may switch to the Thug later on. So those are probably the best two starting aspects. As we progress and we get different weapons that actually have elements on them, and I'll show you what those look like as we get them, because it's not this. I actually don't understand what the Juniper Sword is supposed to be doing for us. Apart from maybe it gives us better Ardor scaling. But as you can see, it really doesn't seem to do all that much more than the standard longsword. Now, as for weapons, I tend to like the greatsword so far. The normal longsword is probably the better pick. And as you can see, we're just going to use the hardened stone for our parry for now. And then all the just basic stuff that the game has given to us. In addition, there's only a couple of these that we really care about right now. The preparedness is amazing. You definitely want to have that on. And if you can stretch out along the red, if you haven't spent all of your points already, coming over so that when we deal damage with a weapon, we increase physical damage. Also not we increase our physical defense. Also not bad. It just means that when you're like trying to get some swings in, you won't be punished as heavily. We do want to get to parrying, giving us heals. There is no choice. We will have to parry through the game. So we want to make sure that we are getting towards that, because that's just going to help you in terms of being survivable. And we probably will want all 4 of these elemental options as we go forward, just because element is basically the way that you're going to get through this game with any real amount of ease. And so we're going to be taking advantage of that as we move forward. So with all of that out of the way, and you can see my loadout on screen just in case you want to use it, we can actually start progressing now. There was an item back over there, but you guys, I would have thought anyway, will have used the tutorial. I, of course, haven't. I used the skip option, which is why we're able to just progress forward out into the wonderful sunlit sunflower field. Looks great, actually. I may even take a couple of quick pictures here, just because, maybe not that way. It definitely does look better that way, doesn't it? Let's get to a good bit like that. Shame there's no little emote things for me to use with you guys. Just so I've got a picture so I can use it on thumbnail, right? Unfortunately, as far as I can tell, we can't get up onto these sides. It's blocked off to us. It's really weird because some areas the game does allow you to do a bit of like free roaming across roofs and stuff, and then other times It's got invisible walls. It's not always clear where those are, so we'll just have to get to those as we get them. I'm going to take this right-hand turn first, just because that clears things out. Want a bit of loot. Now, these guys can actually drop us our first elemental weapon, which is the... I think it's called, like, the Fizz. But it is a mace, and I'm not an entirely large fan of the mace. Obviously, we're going to come at that from a different angle later on. We get shot at, I don't know. I'm really getting 5 souls a kill with these. So that is rather painful in terms of the pacing at which we're going to be leveling. It's not great to be facing enemies in pairs, but you can see they don't exactly separate themselves very well. That poke there is always at least 3 hits, so be careful of that. And get your friend down. There we go, makes me happy. Of course, take advantage of the crits as they come down. Now, you are probably going to want to farm these clown boys. You'll find here... He hasn't actually dropped me any. We can actually get a mask from them. We can get shards from those. That will allow us to create more masks later on. So, the game does seem to reward a little bit more of a grindy playstyle. And I'll show you that as we progress. Because we're going to want to basically get elemental versions of all of the different weaponry that we'd like to use. So that we can switch around as we go to different areas of the game and use the correct weapons at the correct time. Get you down. Got denied the riposte on that there. Hopefully you guys can't hear the wheel work in the background. It's really distracting for me. I keep on looking back at it. I'm sorry if I have weird pauses. But it is what it is. Work has to happen. So we're going to loop on around... Wait. It's that... Yeah, that way's path progression. We're going to go up here first. Axe boys are a little bit more dangerous than what we've been fighting already. So just be careful. As we're coming around. Does he have friends? I don't think so. And as you can see, this one's got a an element above him, which means he is way, way harder. Now, on the top left corner of the screen, you can see that there are the cycles of all the different elements, which basically means if we had fire right now, we'd be able to do more damage. And it would be a lot more damage as well. It's no insignificant amount. But for now, I'm just going to play around with him. Hopefully I can deal with him. You can see how much more damage they do. But these are realistically the biggest issue of the game. A lot of the time, enemies like that are actually tougher than some of the bosses. Or have been for me. You can see even with the riposte, not exactly a simple ask to put them down. Because we can't seem to stagger them anywhere near as well. At least we know the horizontal slash is only 2. That's going to be 4. We went with 3, did he? Oops, wrong thing. So as you can see, like, mostly a basic moveset, but can be kind of long to fight them. And that is specifically why we definitely 100% want to get on the elemental weapons as quickly as we can, because that is going to make these far easier. You could choose to use abilities, but you can see how long they're taking to charge up. Well, that's how long you'd have to wait to be able to do actual damage to these guys. Now, you might notice the top right, he didn't actually give me as much as I thought he would. They are also usually the best way to level, because they'll often give you a good chunk of XP, or this game's version of souls. Call it XP, it's just easier. Down there's some crabs. We're going to be down there later. We could do it now. Maybe we should do it now. Drop spices. These crabs also do quite a bit of damage, so we are actually, from this position, going to want to come over this way. The only problem is that means clearing that last bit is not ideal. Okay. So the bad thing about coming down that way, as we have done, is going back just to kind of loop everything together, because I do like to make sure we get back to where we've previously dropped down stuff from, so you can see everything. It's going to be slightly tougher because there's an archer over there. Right, so points. So let's just look at some stuff here. We can get ourselves 5 levels, which is rather nice. I am going to be targeting Elementalist, Trickster, and Battle Mage, and obviously health is also important as an actual stat. The reason for that is I'm not too bothered about the physical damage. I'm going Elemental all the way, as I said. Battle Mage is going to increase the speed at which our abilities charge up, and more stamina and defense. The defense seems to have a huge impact on how tough we are, so just that is generally speaking how my stat spread is going to land as we move forward. I don't know how I'm going to handle grinding. I don't normally like putting grinds into games like this, but because we need to have a weapon of each element and we need to have that weapon upgraded, there's not really much we can do about it, basically. Again, these are going to be tough because they've got the element on them. That may well... You know what? Let's farm... See, we're already talking about it. Let's farm one of those braziers off of somebody. Because everything all has fire. Let's at least... Now that we are charging things up 4% faster, let's at least spec for that a little bit, shall we? So we want to be having fire. So if you want to have fire, you have to have a skill in slot 3 that can be cast fairly quickly. We've got slot 3 is not even taken, look. So let's move the... Yeah, Duelist Virtue. Is that the back step? Yeah, this is probably the best one to use at the moment. The ranged attack one takes longer, so you can see it says charging speed. Generally speaking, if you want to be using buffs, you want to have something that says Presto on it, because that's going to charge a bit faster. And I think because we're going to intend to use some abilities right now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch to Battle Mage, so we've got some additional charge speed on there. It's going to make a big difference to us. Let's go back up this way. And maybe if the axe spins back there, you'll see the difference when we put the element on the weapon. But the problem here is we've got the archer above on the left-hand side if we go this way, which is what I wanted to avoid, really. Now, be careful with run-up attacks. Something that I suppose I didn't really necessarily show is when it comes to doing the run-up attack, I press like here, and it takes that long to actually get the run-up on there so that we can do the damage. So just be careful. Look how vertically he can fire those arrows at me. Let's bring this guy out here, look. Ouch. So you don't actually have an element, you just have elemental weaponry. I'm going to put you down. Let me take a heal here just so I can kind of show some stuff. One of the cool things with the archers is we can actually... one of the cool things with range attacks is we can parry them if we're quick, and that will in fact make it so that we can stun them for a crit by doing that. So quite useful. I don't know, I thought it was a crossbow, but I guess he wasn't. Have you aggroed? I just want to go up and link everything up. Make sure we didn't miss anything up at the top. I don't think we did. So his brazier look is a fire weapon. If you farm enough of those, he'll drop that. And therefore, you will now have an elemental weapon, which is actually going to be effective against all the enemies that we have right now. So that is the... Yes. Did I miss anything around the building? As you might imagine, I haven't taken notes for this because I didn't know, as going through, whether or not I definitely want to do a 100% walkthrough like I normally do for this. And I'm still not, like, entirely convinced that's going to be the case yet. But, you know, if you guys ask for it, then I can certainly make that a thing. Okay, so that links everything together. I'm going to deal with this clown boy and his friend again because I want to make sure I'm rolling in the XP steadily. Let's go get this guy as well. I don't remember these being so easy to stagger. Should have took the riposte there, but didn't. It's fine. They seem to be the best right now. 75 is actually not bad for a single enemy. I'm going to do with these two. I'm going to do a little cut forward. I said I wouldn't, but I'm just going to pause the recording. And wouldn't you know, on the one where I stopped recording, he actually dropped some of the Gardener Mask shards. So we just want to make sure we're getting those, just for completion's sake. In my opinion, anyway, we want to make sure we're getting those topped up. I don't know exactly how many shards we need, so you may have to come around and do that quite a few times. This is what I'm saying about this game being oddly grindy, because you have to gather all of these things. So on these crabs, because I've got the third ability already charged up, I can demonstrate the damage difference. So we can go ahead, we can do 46 damage with that. Just press the wrong button there. So when we do that, we should now be... Oh, I guess I didn't equip the ability. I must start then. Valuable shells, thank you. You can already see the massive difference in the charge speed because we put the... we changed the aspect. I thought there was 3. I'll check that in a second. Maybe I've done something wrong. Get all of this gathered. This is dead end. I tried to jump off that when I was streaming, and it was not the way forward. Let me assure you of that. Anything at this side? No. Now, there's just one on certain items that you might want to use. This is kind of a little bit of a tip. The XP items, you need to press across on the D-pad before you use them to use them in multiples. I am going to save those specifically for when I want to upgrade weaponry. That way the currency that we get as we're moving around will instead be used for leveling, which I think is a nicer way of doing it. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take a quick rest. Here, what are we on? 17 minutes. The next checkpoint isn't too far. I'm trying to remember now. We're actually pretty close to the town already. So I'm definitely going to be going with Elementalist, even though that's not actually going to do me any damage favors right now. That's what we're doing. Elementalist and Odd All Power. That's where damage is going to come from. And it's going to get pretty good pretty fast. Let me just check my loadout for a second, because I thought I was going to coat my weapon with fire, and I want to make sure we're doing that. There are some tough enemies coming. Yeah, I didn't equip it. Look, this is the problem. Sometimes you have to remember. So we need Fatuo Path on there, and we could have Layer of Thorns on. I don't usually use it, but I guess we have space. Enemies taking damage for damaging me sounds good. Why not? So here we have another pair, but this time on the left there's an archer. So if you want to deal with those, you want to do that here. And there's quite a lot to do with the run. 18 minutes. Okay, you know what? This is actually a pretty good place for me to put a break in. I am going to do something crazy, and I'm just basically going to re-clear everything I just cleared again to make sure that I've got currency coming in nice and fast. So these crabs actually do respawn, which is not entirely a bad thing. How much do these give? Just want to double check myself. For my own sanity. So that does that, and then we can go. Now look at the damage difference. You're 40. So it's not exactly fast. I'm not going to get a lot out of it, but I just want to make sure I've been defeating enemies regularly enough to keep on top of getting the max shards. And because this has been so long, and I guess because I spent so much time explaining like simple mechanics and stuff, this video just ended up a bit longer than usual. Next of them we're going to deal with... Those are just 2 NPCs right there. We don't really interact with them. And we've got like a loop to do. Yeah, loop to do. And a bit of a demonstration on some puzzle stuff over there. So I'll catch you all very shortly.